All right, screw it. Well, we got a nice live going on. Excuse me for the camera quality, but we gotta practice today our speech, so we're gonna get to work. So what we have in mind is that we have the day 3 and day 4 homework. And basically what it means is that yesterday, as you already seen, we have been practicing the intro for my speech, which is the day 3 fight story. So my third MMA fight story, and basically explains why love is the answer. So I'm actually describing how I use the love effect to win my third MMA fight. Now today is kind of interesting, and I'm going to show you the content that we have for today. So as you already know, and I told you yesterday, harnessing your speech and actually being able to display yourself and express yourself in the right manner will help you get the opportunities that you want. And most importantly, people will actually be able to understand you and get influenced by you, hopefully positively, so you can change lives for good. So I'm going to open my assistant ChatGPT, who has been helping me practice and harness my speech and make a script for the competition on March 13th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Alrighty, let's refresh the page. Refresh the page. Alrighty. So day 3, it was kind of interesting for the homework because it asks us to describe what is your belief and what is your concern for the speech. Now, what do they mean by what is your belief for your speech? Is that, let's say that you believe in something, you have your opinion, you want to let people know in your voice, but why should they be influenced by that? What's in it for them? Because if you don't believe in what you're saying, then it won't have any effect. Hence why they're asking you for your belief. How much do you believe in your speech? And the second one is your concern. Now, it's one thing to motivate somebody to do something, but what if they are not motivated? They don't believe in motivation. Now we are going to step 2, which is describing the concern, which is the consequence for not taking action on what you just told them to do or to think about. So, what is the concern for your speech? Now, ChatGPT has already told me something very interesting. Since I already spoke about my yesterday's speech, he already gave me the outline for my belief and my concern. So, belief. I believe that love is not just a feeling, it is a responsibility. When you truly care about something or someone, it gives you the strength to overcome doubt, fear, and even your own limitations. Okay? So, that is for our belief. Now, concern. My concern is that many people today focus only on their own fears, their own comfort, and their own success. So a lot of selfishness, as you can already see. And chat, he already got the sense of it, which is perfect. When we focus only on ourselves, doubt becomes overwhelming. But when we find something bigger than ourselves to stand up for, whether it is family, community, or the people we want to help, that sense of responsibility can transform weakness into strength. That is the lesson I experienced before my third fight, and it is the same principle that now drives me to help others through coaching. Now, there's a layer that's a bit deeper than that. Because yes, you've heard my concern, you've heard my belief, but it's still kind of superficial. Like, it's not enough to be like, oh, damn, I feel it. I have definitely felt the concern, the consequence that's going to come up as a result of not taking action and not acting on the advice that you just gave me. So I added some more sauce and spice into ChatGPT. I have added stuff like, and now I'm giving you some tips and tricks. Anybody who's watching on YouTube, anybody who's watching on Instagram, I'm giving you tips and tricks on connecting with your audience, specifically to deliver the speech perfectly. Now, we're focused yesterday on the first part of the speech, which is audience connection. And number one is building rapport, capture the audience attention by using the 5S formula. And let's not forget, the first S is show of hands, ask questions, statements, simple games, symbolism, stories. And as you already know, I'm starting it with a story. Number two, how to connect with the audience is authority storytelling. So the type of story that will actually help you influence and set a frame of you're the expert in this specific realm. For example, if you are looking to improve yourself in fitness, you're listening to a fitness influencer. Let's say if you want to, learn about keto diet, you're not going to listen to somebody who's a vegan expert. You're going to specifically look for somebody who's a keto diet expert. Hence why, when a keto diet expert starts his speech, he's going to start with a story, like a scenario, where he actually is going to subtly insert the importance of what he's going to be talking about, which in return is going to drag the audience to listen and, I would say, get dragged into the story in a good way. Now, number three, third way of audience connection, get them to say, me too, not so what, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool concept indeed. Think about this. When you are telling a story, when you are telling just anything, when words are coming out of your mouth, guys, it doesn't have to be empty words. Actually, it cannot be empty words. You don't want to waste your life, your seconds, saying meaningless stuff just because people at the end will say, oh, so what? I don't care. You want to make sure that everything that you're going to say, especially when you're delivering your speech, that the people who are actually listening to you are going to think about it and will connect and relate to the story, especially the beginning of it. For example, who in this room, show of hands, who in this room has tried to lose weight in the past, tried XYZ diet, and it didn't work? Oh, I tried this diet too. This didn't work. So they relate. Well, this is how I discovered keto diet, and this helped me to gain muscle and lose body fat. Boom. Now they're locked in. Now they want to know. First step. Oh, I tried to lose weight using XYZ diet. That didn't work. That looks like and sounds like my situation that I was in or am in. Step two, they're hearing the word keto diet as a solution or a possible solution to the problem they encounter. Now they're locked in, they listen, and that's where they captivated. That's where you captivate their attention. And that's where you are, by default, setting authority. Yeah, so how do you start your speech? Obviously, yesterday we covered with greetings. Today we are going to talk about title so that you can outcome. Before we start, I'd love to choose an activity, right? The reason why I state the activity is because how is it relevant to the topic? Keep that in mind. 60 seconds in total. You don't want to go overboard on your introduction or you're going to lose their attention. Let's see the YouTube chat, see what's up. What up? What up? Perfect. Now, I wish my camera was much better. But that's fine. We're professionals. The most important thing is the message gets delivered. Edit. Now, after you start your speech, you need to understand the clock. Basically, the hero's journey and the 12 phases. There are 12 phases that a hero has to go through in order for a story to be complete and actually impactful. I went to the grocery store, I bought a carrot, the end. Waste of your human existence trying to tell such short story with no significance. This is how properly a story is told. Step 1. The ordinary world. You're just a regular guy. Spider Man, Peter Parker, was a regular person until the spider bit him. The call to the adventure. Oh, Spider Man was called to this laboratory where he was exploring spiders. So far, you know, regular day for Peter Parker. However, it starts to get a bit interesting. Some adventure starts to creep in. The refusal of the call. Now, when the spider bits Peter Parker, which actually makes the movie so perfect, is because he got bit and he did not say, "Oh yes, I'm Spider Man." Wow. He basically denied the call from the spider. Spider bit him. Fuck. I shouldn't swear on YouTube. I'm sorry. Please keep this video on. But basically, he got bit by this spider, and then he denied that he's Spider Man. He thought it's just a bite. I'm just going to go sleep. I'm just going to rest up, and everything's going to be okay. Which is a dumb move if you get bit by a spider in the first place. So refuse the call. Now, number 4 is meet the mentor. Pivotal event where he's exploring his superpowers, right? Wow, I can climb now. Now he teaches himself how to climb. In the later Spider-Mans, basically Peter Parker is now, how can I say, meets Doctor, wherever that guy, the lizard guy, who injected his arm, the amputee, Cron, I don't remember. But he meets a mentor which actually shows him the way. Batman, a great example. When he went met Ra's al Ghul, that's when he actually was able to, as you know, explore furthermore his true superpowers and how he got over them. Number 5, crossing the first threshold. Now that is kind of interesting. Now, if you think about Batman, you can think about when he killed the murderer of his family. For Spider Man, it would be most likely when he tried to jump across 2 buildings without falling and literally dying. Number 6, tests, allies, enemies. That's when he starts to, how can I say, meet his first enemies, Green Goblin, or allies. He meets Harry, for example, which helps him down the line in some movies. Number 7, approach the inmost cave. Ooh. Now, I don't remember what exactly they meant by that. Accountability time. But it means, but it, since they chose that it's at the bottom, that means that he's about to enter this world of opposition, most likely. Number 8, the ordeal. I guess is fighting through it. Number 9, the reward. Okay, so that's cool. Now we understand the reward that the superhero gets by passing through the ordeal. Number 10, the road back. That's interesting. So basically, sometimes you can say it in a way that means, all right, he went through the hardships, he got through it, he got the reward, but then down the line, the problem comes back again. Perhaps Peter Parker felt incomplete after he killed the Green Goblin. He lost a person very close to him. He starts to get into his thoughts and flashbacks of when he fought the Green Goblin and killed him after. And now this thought haunts him, and now it kind of destroyed the friendship with him and Harry. Something like that. Number 11, Resurrection. Now that's interesting. You can relate that to Peter Parker becoming the Venom in some way. Although it's a dark way of saying it, it is some sort of resurrection. In the second Spider-Man, for example, or was it second? But yeah, second. He lost his superpowers, lost his spider effects. Then he discovered this virus or whatever it's called, this venom virus. He got injected with it, or it basically swallowed him or something like that. And then he became Venom, which is a much powerful version of Spider-Man. Number 12, the return to the elixir, which actually makes sense because after Peter Parker or Spider Man beats Venom, he's back to the regular Spider Man. He realizes that after all the ordeal that he went through, he's back to the regular him superhero, which matters the most. Even though Venom was much more powerful than Spider Man. By the way, guys, it applies to Batman as well, not just Spider Man or any other movies. So when we are tackling the next step, which is concern, remember, guys, it's a very important step in life. The concern part is a painful emotion and cost of not changing. Exactly what I told you last time. And there's no light without darkness. You need to understand this reality. What happens if they don't change? This is the first part of this painful emotion, and also the attack yourself or third party. Like it's a story or a case study. So, for example, when I was young, I didn't know better. Ta ta ta. You know, but even most importantly, you can make them salivate for an answer or solution. You create like a contrast. Yes, you had this problem, this created this type of um, identity for yourself, but there's a solution. Now, when you're talking about concern, there's three levels of concern or pain. Number one is logic. Number two, emotion. Number three, identity. So number one is don't do this. It's not cool. All right. I heard you, but I don't care. Number two is emotion. So don't do this. It's not cool. You will feel XYZ. Oh, now it's a bit deeper. I will feel that. I will feel sad. I will feel angry. I will feel disappointed. But some people are still willing to take the risks. They're either, how can I say, ambitious or stupid in some way. Level three is identity. Don't do this. It's not cool. You'll feel sad. Your whole life will be a wreck. You will be a failure. Okay, now we're talking deep. I don't want to be a failure. I want to succeed in life. I don't want to be known for being a failure. So now, most likely, I'm going to think about it and make the next step. Most likely, step towards the right action. So, when we're talking about concern, and the theme is Love is the answer, obviously. There's a few things you can ask yourself. Where in your life are you holding back love? Who are you protecting yourself from instead of fully loving somebody or something or yourself? What walls have you built that love could tear down? When did you decide it was safer to be guarded than open? What relationship are you managing instead of nurturing? What truth have you not said because you were afraid of rejection? Who have you emotionally distanced yourself from to avoid being hurt? What version of you exists when love leads, and what version exists when fear leads? Identity. What has fear cost you over time? Connection, intimacy, joy, or peace? What happens if you keep choosing control over love? What does your life look like 5 years from now if nothing softens? If you ask yourself all these questions, you start to realize okay, there is a consequence, there is a contrast to me not taking action, not implementing love in my life. The people who are going to be listening to it are more likely going to be open to the idea of accepting love now because they don't want to be, for example, like the last question is, what does your life look like 5 years from now if nothing softens? You're most likely going to be a hateful person, or everybody's going to hate you, and you're going to be left alone, lonely. That's kind of hard. I bet 100% there are majority of people out here, unless they're very, very broken, and even them, they just don't acknowledge the fact they need love. But basically, those people will most likely lean towards wanting love in their life, included, at least love themselves. So after I updated ChatGPT with all those lessons, he basically updated a bit what's my belief and what's my concern. Now check this out. It's going to be kind of interesting. So my speech core is love is not just a feeling, love is responsibility. For example, my coach's line before the fight was the turning point. So now we frame belief plus concern. So my day 3 homework answer, ready to post, literally, is my belief. I believe that love is not just a feeling, it is a responsibility. When we truly care about something or someone, it pushes us beyond our fears, doubts, and limitations. In my story, that realization came moments before stepping into the cage for my third fight. I was overwhelmed by doubt despite training harder than ever before. But my coach reminded me of something simple and powerful that when we fight only for ourselves, fear can take control. But when we fight for something bigger than ourselves, we discover strength we didn't know we had. This shit makes me smile. Sorry, YouTube, don't delete the video. But this thing makes me smile because literally, this is what I have endured. And it resonates with me now. Literally, if someone told me that now, word for word, I would have been more likely to say, this is me. I can relate to that. That lesson changed the way I understand both fighting and life. My concern My concern is that many people today are living behind emotional walls built from fear, self protection, and past experiences, which is true. Would you agree? But instead of choosing love, connection, and responsibility, we often choose control and safety. Isn't that correct? Over time, this creates distance between us and the people who matter most. Relationships become transactional instead of meaningful. Opportunities for connection are missed because we are too afraid of rejection, vulnerability, and failure. Remember, guys, what I told you last time? It's all about the identity. That's the core concern. If somebody's identity is going to be shattered if they don't take action, they're most likely to accept the advice to change their lives for good. The cost of that is not always obvious immediately, but over years it leads to isolation, regret, and life that feels smaller than it could have been. The question my speech ultimately asks is simple: what happens if we keep choosing fear over love? I'm asking yourself. Because the truth is that the strongest version of ourselves often appears only when we choose to care deeply, even when that means risking being hurt. That is facts. Why is this answer strong for the mastermind? It hits exactly what Kaylee is teaching. Kaylee was my mentor for my public speaking event. It hits exactly what Kaylee is teaching: belief, concern, emotional cost of not changing, personal story connection, and universal message. Strong. And most importantly, it keeps your core theme consistent with your speech story. So there's small things I want to point out. So that question perfectly fits the MMA story, right? What version of you exists when love leads? And what version exists when fear leads, right? Because fear equals doubt before the fight, and love version equals responsibility and purpose. So that contrast will become the emotional punch of the speech. So, this is the day three task that I was given for the Top Speaker magazine. What is my concern and what is my belief for the speech, which is the story about my third MMA fight. Now we're going to day four homework to improve the speech. Let's check the YouTube chat. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, go to my YouTube channel, Banana Fighter Fit, hit that subscribe button. And I'm always going to be adding more people for my podcast, which is the BFF podcast. I'm going to have influencers in bodybuilding, fitness influencers. We're going to have female entrepreneurs, or already did. Going to have more in the future. I'm going to have artists and stuff like that. People who actually built me in the past, and they're going to be sharing their own knowledge and expertise, the same type of knowledge that built me up, so I can transfer my knowledge to you guys. So if you haven't yet, go to my YouTube channel, Banana Fighter Fit, hit the subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Back to the stream. So YouTube is doing good. Back to ChatGPT, my helper. So, what is the day for task? The day for task was, what is my speech outline in point form? So, if you want to have a proper speech, obviously you want to have a structure, point form, bullet points, maybe a diagram with some schemes or sketches to help you memorize and remember this exact moment that you want to talk about. If you were to have a paper in front of you, today I'm talking about this. Get out of here. Kick some rocks. Boring. You want to be professional. How to have a professional speech is that you need to have this in your mind embedded. All right. And by having your speech embedded inside your mind, by default, you're going to be more fluid. One thing that I always told my people when I was doing public speaking events with them, I was always telling them, speak from your heart. As simple as that. It doesn't have to be that difficult. If you remember a story that made you happy or made you feel sad, and the message is important for the people to know, speak, but speak from the heart, how it made you feel. Speak out with the energy. So, this is what we're doing now. We're going to use the exact homework, the exact notes that I was given by Kaylee Chu, which is my mentor for public speaking, and how we're going to apply it for our specific story, where the message is love is the answer. So, day four homework. Let me sip my tea with honey. So, the first part of my speech outline, obviously, it's audience connection. Now, you wanted to start with greeting the audience. Obviously, don't be a D kid. YouTube, don't cancel that. Brief introduction to the topic, which is love is the answer, and a quick engagement question. Have you ever trained or prepared for something important, but right before the moment came, doubt suddenly appeared? Oh, yeah, I did. Audience engagement. Raise the hands. This is me. I'm listening to you now. But before we go any further, I actually gave ChatGPT some food for thought so it can actually improve my speech, the outline. There's a few things that are taking part of a proper speech. So imagine a proper speech like a menu at a restaurant. You get in, you get set down, napkins, everything. They show you the menu. But before you look at the menu, what are you paying attention for? You're paying attention to the setting, the background, the vibe, the setting that actually sets the mood for the story. Is it dark? In my case, it's an MMA cage. What does the MMA cage look like? Where's the lights? Is it like this? Bright like that? Or a bit dim like this? It's very important to paint the picture so people understand and follow you through the story. It's very easy to get lost nowadays if you're not specific and concrete in what this exact setting is. Next thing you're paying attention to is the appetizer. You're not going to start right away with a big meal, most likely. As they're preparing your fancy steak, very bushy, they're going to take their time, but they're going to give you some appetizer just to get you started. So, in our case, I'm starting the, how can I say, the drill or the speech by starting with a date, starting with a show of hands, engage the audience, have somebody, you know, relate to my story so that they already get engaged in the menu. Oh, I ate this whatever appetizer, so I'm looking forward to eat that steak that they're preparing for me. And then there's the main dish. They bring you the main dish, only one, because if you give them too many, they lose appetite. Imagine somebody give you a mountain of hot dogs, burgers, cheesecake, all at the same time. It's not gonna feel as appealing of a meal. So it's important to give them one meal to digest, one word, one message, one structure. Don't try to insert all of your life story into one specific speech, especially if it's a short form speech. Dessert. How do you finish off? The cherry on top. Presentation. How do you present the meal, right? Are you energetic? Are you a bit depressed at the time when you talk about it? Are you making a lot of pauses? Are you flicking the lights like that? Sound effects, anything. It does play a huge role. Service. How is the serviceman? How is the bartender? Are they nice to you? That's very important as well. And now the wow factor. Are you amazed by the story? which is going to be my goal as well to make them go, wow. Before he beat his ass up, he was thinking about love. True love, cut. Real deal, man. I'm amazing. Now, the next part of the speech is demonstration, the 30% part of your speech. Core evolution or core solution plus evidence plus demonstrations. That's how you can demonstrate throughout your speech. Core solution, evidence, demonstrations. Break down your solutions into simple steps, explain the process plus provide evidence, demonstrate how their life will be better by following your plan, idea, action plan, and use emotional stories, case studies, and testimonials. Pretty straightforward. Now, again, this is something that I give chat as a food for thought. So let's break down the effective speech. There are five parts of the speech, as I already told you. Assume you're planning a 7 minute speech, which is around 420 seconds. First part is 1 minute or 60 seconds. It's 15% of the speech. It is audience connection. Second part is belief, 15%. It's 1 minute as well. Third part, it's a big chunk. It's 30%. It's the concern. It's 2 minutes. Next part is demonstration, which is 2 minutes. It's also 30%. And the next one is 10% empowerment, which is the last part. 45 seconds. Call to action. Dessert. Presented in a very nice way. Cherry on top with fireworks coming out. Catch my drift? So now, after I gave ChatGPT this food for thought, it actually gave me a most likely better note. And I actually haven't read it yet. So let's check out what it told me. Perfect. Those slides actually confirm exactly how your speech should be structured. And your story fits almost perfectly into Kaylee's framework already. We just need to align it clearly. Your speech should follow this timing from the slide. 7 minute speech structure. Audience connection, belief, concern, demonstration solution, and empowerment, which is call to action. So the day four homework should reflect this exact flow. Day four homework. Clean version you can post. My key takeaway from today's training is that no, get out of here. That's not the right one. My speech outline. There you go. Audience connection. 1 minute. Greeting the audience. Ask a relatable question. Have you ever prepared for something important in your life? Trained hard, worked for it, and then, right before the moment arrived, doubt suddenly crept into your mind. Relatable. Brief introduction to the story. Belief. 1 minute. Introduce the core message. Love is not just a feeling, it is a responsibility. Explain how caring deeply about something bigger than ourselves gives us strength to overcome fear and doubt. Concern. 2 minutes. Many people today leave behind emotional walls built from fear, past experiences, or self protection. Fear of rejection, failure, or vulnerability causes people to hold back love and connection. That is true. Over time, this leads into isolation, missed opportunities, and regret. Now we're hitting the identity part. The question becomes, what happens if we continue choosing fear instead of love? Demonstration. Story. 2 minutes. Winter 2018. Preparing for my third MMA fight. Coming from a previous fight where I barely made it through. I trained harder than ever and expected to perform well. But minutes before entering the cage, overwhelming doubt appeared. I returned to my coach and expressed that doubt. My coach said something that changed my perspective completely. That moment reshaped how I understood both fighting and life. Empowerment, call to action. When we choose love, responsibility towards something bigger than ourselves, fear loses its power. That is true. That is facts, man. Encourage the audience to reflect. Where in your life are you choosing fear instead of love? Final message. The strongest version of ourselves appears when we choose love over fear. Specifically, love something or somebody we choose to protect. Stand up for somebody we love. A belief, preferably a person, family, loved one, pet, but most likely it's family. I hope you stand up for your family name. Why this fits Kaylee's system perfectly? Your speech now clearly follows the model from the slides: audience connection, belief, connection, demonstration, and empowerment. It also follows the hero's journey structure she showed earlier. One thing I want to highlight: your story has a very strong mentor moment. Oh, yes, it does, could. Your story has a very strong mentor moment. You, doubt, coach, wisdom, you, transformation. That is exactly the meet the mentor moment of the hero's journey slide she showed. That moment will likely become the emotional peak of your speech, and will certainly be. Chat knows what's up. If you want, we can also grab the 2 actual minute demonstration section, because that is 30% of judging score and usually where speeches either win or lose competitions. Now, let me check first my notes right here for my day 3 and day 4 to make sure nothing has been forgotten by chat. And I'm actually going to add it towards ChatGPT so it can help me tailor my structure even more, because I feel like we can be a bit more deep than that. First, let me turn on dark light mode on my laptop so I can see much more easier. Turn the lights here. Nah. Going back to the notes now. Day 3 homework, so to speak. Alrighty. So we went through day 2 yesterday, which was pretty straightforward, the introduction stage of the speech. Next one, we're gonna show the notes that actually demonstrate how to have a proper structure for the speech. For those who just joined the chat, welcome, El Slapador. Yeah. So yeah, going back to the appetizer framework of how do you actually structure your speech. The setting, obviously, where is it happening? What is happening? How is it happening? The hook is the appetizer. So, how do you hook the audience in? 20 different hooks. Try them out. For example, if you're a content creator and you are trying to see which hook works best before you pay for ads, I suggest actually you would try 20 different hooks at the same time, see which one performs best, and double down on the one or the ones that did well. So this is the appetizer when you're looking at the menu, the hook. Now, main course or the entree is one simple message. You don't want to overindulge the people in too many meals. So don't give me the hot dog with the cheesecake with the burger at the same time. It's not gonna be cool. I'm not gonna enjoy the meal, and I'm most likely gonna lose interest. So when you deliver a message, it's important. It's gonna be one message specifically. If you're fat, eat less junk food. As simple as that. In our case, love is the answer. So the message is, what will happen if you replace fear with love? Or even better, how Chat already said it in the past, the strongest version of ourselves appears when we choose love over fear. Alrighty. Dessert. How do you insert dessert into your speech? Emotional connection with people. Build connectivity. That's how you actually do it properly. A cherry on top. Next one. How do you service? How do you tell your story? Right? The delivery. This ain't Uber Eats here. It's salt-based restaurant. How do you deliver the meal? So in our case, we're not monotone. We don't want to be I today I talk about this. Boring. We have to add energy. What's up, guys? I have a question for you. By raise of hand, who has tried XYZ and it didn't work out? Oh, now I can relate. I added energy. I add engagement because of my tonality. This is the service and delivery of your speech. This is how you catch the attention and retain the attention of the people that are listening to you so you can deliver your speech properly. Pause from time to time, like I do right now. I pause to let the message deliver itself, marinate, let it simmer, lets you guys to actually think about it, take the food for thought. Let people absorb what you say. Variety is key for delivering humor, gestures, etc. Like you see my hand movement. If I was like that all the time, if you see chat on YouTube, if I'm always like that and I'm talking, you only see my mic, it's going to be pretty, how can I say, boring. Wouldn't you agree? So I have to move my hands to direct you, right? To make the message a bit more engaging. So, moving forward, you want to add a wow factor to the speech, the unexpected surprise. Pow! Zoom in on the story. So instead of just passing by the story, instead of just telling it, hi, I went to the audience, I went to buy some groceries, I bought a carrot, the end. Boring. You want to dive deep into the story and start diving into the not the horizontal but the vertical part of the story. Hi, I went to the grocery store. I freaking bumped into a Ninja Turtle that started to fight me, so I pulled out my pen and stabbed it in the eye, and that's how I won my freaking fight. Boom, 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 boom. You start going deeper, deeper. Next thing you know, a chick saw me, gave me my IG. She gave me her IG. Next thing you know, we had beautiful Ninja Turtle babies. Whatever. You get my drift, right? I don't know who likes hear Ninja Turtles chat on YouTube. Press one if you guys love Ninja Turtles. Personally, me, I'll beat the shit out of YouTube. Don't cancel it. I'll beat the crap out of Ninja Turtles. Banana Fighter, you already know, man. But man, things, man. All right. So now we're going to memorize the speech. We crafted the outline of the speech. We put out minimum 100 words per minute, like the output, the main meal. One message, not too much, so don't get too fat from it. Just one at a time, deliver smoothly, no problem. Use keywords and use phrases in each section to make sure that you right away memorize what you want to talk about. So instead of having a whole script with your speech and being like, hello, Today I'm talking about Ninja Turtles and how to fight them. Yeah, right. You're looking at your paper. Although it's a boring story, most likely, um, I would prefer that you get the shit out of your way. Don't cancel it, YouTube, and you just tell yourself, boom, I have the story in my mind. I visualized it over and over again. And if, let's say, you get lost in the story, you just relate to the small memories that you have embedded in your mind that made you remember the story. In that case, you can draw in your head the grocery store, like in Canada, we have Super C or whatever, or Maxi or Loblaws. And basically, you say, "Oh, I went to the grocery store because I saw Loblaws." Next thing you know, you put Ninja Turtles. And you're like, "Oh, then I fought Ninja Turtles." You take a pen and you can say, "I took up my pen, stab in the eyeball." Boom. Next thing you know, you can put your favorite girl on Instagram. I don't know, Kylie Jenner's. I don't know who. And say, "Oh, and then this hot chick saw me fight those Ninja Turtles. She gave me her IG." And then you can keep going like that, having visualization. And like I said before, it's much easier to tell a story if you actually have this embedded in your heart, how the story made you feel at the time. And it's why I love talking about my fight stories, because every fight story affected me in a good way, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, sometimes physically. Although there were times where I was kind of sore after. Ah, conditioning. Now, where are my notes? There they are. Oh. Let's see the chat on YouTube. All doing good. We are still live. Not cancelled. Uncancelable. We can swear as much as we want. Wink, wink. And YouTube will not give a damn. See how I changed my tonality? It's very important. Unexpected tonality. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Another thing it's important, what speaking gives us. Speaking gives us authority and influence. It gives us credibility, which helps with impact. And there's the, how can I say, income, the leads that come into your events. Alrighty, we're done with the notes, so that's pretty much it. Let me see here. We're back to chat. We have day 5 homework tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a pretty busy day, but we pretty much have some structure. So let's talk to chat first. Okay, so I'm actually glad we covered today not one, but two homeworks. And that especially the day 3 homework was effective. It's pretty much on point. I'll just double down also that there's the importance of what's the importance here? The strongest version of ourselves appears when we choose love over fear, but also ask the people, the audience, who do they love genuinely, and whether they're ready to stand up for them. Because, true, I agree that you can become a more powerful version once you stop caring about yourself, only yourself, and care about protecting, aka loving, for real, the people you love. As for the day four, the structure, let's just double check to make sure I haven't missed anything in my notes. I'll actually insert it here, it's very important. So, one audience connection is the 5S formula. Two, believe why this, why you, hero's journey, why now. Concern, three levels of pain. And here I feel like we can go even deeper on the identity, on the layer three. Layer three pain, identity. And you did kind of mention loneliness. But isn't there something deeper for identity pain? concern when you're afraid only for yourself and have nothing, or even better, no one to stand up for. Because I feel like if I'm not affected but by what you said, then you most likely, then the crowd most likely won't either. And next one, demonstration. The last part of how to build a speech. Demonstration. How our life can be better. Bring, well, that's true because we've been in the concerned part. So, mind you, the people will feel a bit depressed because you talked about pain all the time. But now you got to bring them back up with demonstration, the hope, the belief, kind of. There's hope. There's a solution to their problems. How our life can be better. Bring the energy back up. There's hope. Because remember, the crowd might feel slightly down and depressed after they've been told the contrast, contrast, opposition, opposites, whatever, opposites. Huh. What else? AKA consequences of inaction. Also, for the menu, setting, where is it happening? Set the stage. Two, hook, appetizer. How do you hook the audience in? We can try main course slash entree. One simple message. Less is more. Don't confuse people. For dessert, emotional connection with people. Cherry on top. Number five is service, delivery. Basically, how do we deliver the message? Variety is key, which is not a problem because, as you already know, I'm already describing my messages and deliver those messages in a pretty energetic vibe. Not monotone, not speaking too fast, stuff like that. So it's not really an issue, but definitely ChatGPT needs to know that so we can actually tailor a better prompt and message after. Yeah. Humor, that's one way of delivering it. Gestures, etc. Wow factor. So it's important to make sure that the speech gets delivered with a wow factor. Like, wow, this message is awesome. Unexpected surprise. That's what it is at the end of the day. Zoom in on the story. Yep. So let's check it out. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Because we did give him some good food for thought. However, I just gave him some more tips so he can generate a better message, better outline for my speech. Let's go, Chat. Let's go. That's what we're saying, bruv. By the way, I will be traveling to Miami very soon, actually. In 2 days. Gonna be a pretty cool experience. I haven't been to Miami ever in my life. It'll be quite of an adventure. So if I get selected to Top Speaker Magazine, I'm actually going to be competing online in my under ah damn 7 p.m. starts to take effect on you. But I'm gonna be doing the competition through my Airbnb in Miami. How cool is that? That's nice. You're thinking about this exactly the right way. What you wrote shows you're not just doing the homework, you're understanding the mechanics of persuasion, which is what Kaylee is trying to teach. Let's refine what you just said and turn it into a very sharp framework for your speech so it hits emotionally and scores high. Refine structure based on your notes. Audience connection. 5S formula. You want a strong hook in the first few seconds. A good structure should be Strong glimpse, situation, suspense, shift, segue. Example flow. Have you ever trained for something important, prepared for months, and then, right after, before the moment arrived, doubt suddenly appeared? Pause. That happened to me minutes before stepping to the cage for my third MMA fight. Belief. Why believe this? You already nailed the core message. The strongest version of ourselves, when we choose love over fear, the strong version of ourselves appears when we choose love over fear. But Kelly, you're right. You must justify it. Believe this. Why you, MMA fighter? Real moment of fear. Real transformation. Why now? People live more isolated than ever. Fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, emotional walls. You're showing that your message is not just philosophy, it's a lived experience. Yep. And that is what building me, reputation, persuasion, authority, influence. People live more isolated than ever. Fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, emotional walls. You're showing that your message is not just philosophy, blah, blah, blah. Concern. The three levels of pain. You were absolutely right there. The identity layer is the deepest. The structure, let's structure it cleanly. I need more tea with honey, and I'm out of both. Ooh la la. You were absolutely right there. The identity layer is the deepest. Let's structure it cleanly. Layer one, surface pain, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of vulnerability. People protect themselves emotionally. Layer two, lifestyle pain. Over time, this leads to isolation, shallow relationships, missed opportunities, emotional distance from others. People protect themselves emotionally. Layer two, lifestyle pain. Over time, leads to isolation, blah, 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 blah. Layer three, identity pain. Most powerful. This is where your speech can hit hard. Example angle: if you live only protecting yourself, if you avoid loving deeply because you're afraid, then who are you really becoming? Because the truth is, a man who stands for himself is weak. Only for himself is weak. Sorry. But a man who stands for the people he loves becomes dangerously powerful. That identity shift is very aligned with your brand and story. And yes, you're right. If you don't feel it deeply, the audience won't either. Demonstration. Bring the energy back. Exactly like you said, after pain contrast, you must lift the audience again. This is where your MMA story explodes emotionally. Structure, setting, fight preparation, doubt appears, coach mentor moment, shift in perspective. That's true. The moment becomes the turning point. The audience experiences transformation with you. Empowerment, call to action. This is where your idea becomes very well, works very well. Very well. You said ask the audience who they genuinely love and if they are ready to stand up for them. That's strong. An example of closing direction. Think about the people you truly love, your family, your partner, your friends, the people who believe in you. Pause. Are you ready to stand up for them when it matters? Simple. Then close with the message again. Strongest version of ourselves appears when we choose love over fear. Oh, alrighty. Combine those two together, great combination. Now, mind you, we are not giving too much food for thought here. This, why is it effective? It's because imagine you're giving your best dessert at the end, which is the call to action, but you add some sprinkles on top. How you deliver it, you add some effects, small spice into the yogurt. I don't know if there's spicy yogurt out there. Never tried, never will. But You get my drift. The close with a message again. Now let's match your menu idea. Very good insight. Setting is Winter 2018, MMA fight preparation, atmosphere of tension. Appetizer is the hook. Minutes before stepping into the cage, I was afraid. Short, direct. Main course is the core message. Love is responsibility. When you fight for something bigger than yourself, fear loses power. True. Dessert, which is emotion, coach mentor moment, that's the emotional peak. Hands down. Service, delivery. Use pauses, voice variation, gestures, and eye contact. Simple as that. Wow factor. Zoom into the exact moment, the cage door closing, the heartbeat, the doubt, your coach's words. Make the audience feel the moment. One thing I wanted to highlight, your speech has something many speakers don't have: real stakes. You weren't giving a presentation, you're about to fight another human being. That creates authenticity that audiences feel instantly. What did I tell you guys? Banana fighter fit for the win. One final suggestion, which is important. The strongest version of your message might be the slight refinement. Instead of only choose love over fear, you might say, when you love something more than you fear failure, you become unstoppable. This keeps your original idea but amplifies the power. If you want, next we can also build the exact 7 minute speech script based on everything you learned today. And honestly, with your fighter story, mentor moment, identity message, this could become very strong competition speech. You know what, guys? Write in the chat. Do you want ChatGPT to structure out the full 7 minute speech right now? And we're gonna go over it. So type it in the chat. Sweet. Perfect. Let's get to it. So, as we check right now, yes, I want to see it. We have only one homework done tomorrow for tomorrow. Left for tomorrow. So, let's see what you have. Also, don't forget that that script transcript I dropped previously when I did the 18-minute live telling the story. But yeah, also show. Let's see what you get. Let's see what's in here. All right. Perfect. I'll build a 7-minute competition speech version using the everything you learned from Kaylee's homework and your actual fight story. I'll keep it aligned with your scoring structure from your slides: 15% audience connection, 15% belief, 30% concern, 30% demonstration, and 10% empowerment. Let's see what ChatGPT cooked for us. This version is designed so you can speak naturally, not memorize like a robot. Exactly it. 7-minute speech script. Loves the answer. Audience connection. Have you ever prepared for something important in your life? Trained for it, worked for it, pushed yourself for months, and then, right before the moment arrived, doubt suddenly appeared. That happened to me in winter 2018. I was about to step into the cage for my third MMA fight. Now you've Now, if you've never thought before, imagine this for a moment. The cage door is about to close, the crowd is loud, your opponent is standing a few meters away, and suddenly your mind starts whispering something you didn't expect. What if you're not ready? What if you fail? What if you're about to embarrass yourself? And in that moment, I felt something I never had felt before: doubt, belief. That moment forced me to confront something I didn't understand at the time. Because until then, I believed that fighting was about strength, about toughness, about pushing through fear. But in that moment, something deeper became clear to me. The strongest version of ourselves doesn't appear when we try to eliminate fear. The strongest version of ourselves appears when we choose love over fear, when we stop fighting only for ourselves and start fighting for something bigger, something that actually matters, something we deeply care about: concern. But there is the problem. Most people today are living their best lives behind emotional walls. Walls built from fear, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of vulnerability. So, what do? We protect ourselves. We stop opening up. We stop taking emotional risks. And slowly, something dangerous happens. Our relationships become shallow, our connections weaken, we start living safe but smaller lives. And over time, that creates something even deeper: an identity problem. Because when you leave only protecting yourself, when you avoid loving deeply because you're afraid to get hurt, you begin to lose something fundamental. You lose the reason to stand up for something, you lose the reason to fight for something. And when you have nothing worth fighting for, fear becomes much harder to overcome. Demonstration, the story. And that's exactly where I found myself the night before my fight. Standing backstage, minutes before walking into the cage, and the doubt kept growing. So I turned to my coach and I told him honestly, I don't know if I can do this. Now I expected him to tell me something motivational, something like, you trained hard, you're ready, you can do this. But instead, he told me something completely different. He looked up to me and said, stop thinking about yourself. And I remembered being confused because this was my fight, my performance, my reputation. But then he continued, you're not just fighting for yourself, you're fighting for everyone who helped you get there: your teammates, your family, your coaches, everyone who believed in you. And suddenly something shifted inside me. Because when you stop fighting only for yourself, fear starts losing its power. When you fight for something bigger, something you genuinely care about, something you love, you become stronger than your doubts. Empowerment, call to action. So tonight I want to ask you something. Think about the people you genuinely love: your family, your parents, your partner, your friends, the people who believe in you, the people who support you. Now ask yourself one simple question: are you living in a way that shows you're ready to stand up for them? Because when you truly care about something bigger than yourself, something powerful happens. your courage grows, your resilience grows, and the strongest version of yourself begins to appear. Because at the end of the day, the strongest version of yourself appears when we choose love over fear. Why this pitch works well? This version follows Kaylee's scoring model perfectly. Audience connection, clear belief, deep connection, identity layer, demonstration through story, strong empowerment close. Your mentor moment with your coach is the core emotional moment of your speech. All right, so here's the thing about chat. We're about to finish the live very soon, but basically, all right, he did try to layer out the 7 minute speech to me. As I can see, there's some stuff that's incongruent, but I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just that he lost me towards the moment I turned to my coach because that what he told me wasn't what ChatGPT told me. What ChatGPT what ChatGPT told me when quoting my coach. That's not what my coach actually said. So we'll have to work on a 7 minute speech. But it's getting late now. Got us stuff to do. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So we'll tell him that where did he get me? So the first part, believe. So let's tell him that. Let's tell ChatGPT because he's been doing a pretty good job, fairly, to help me out. So you've had me hooked pretty much at 1 and 2. Started losing me at 3 because it was a bit of incongruent, I think, or incongruent to what we've been practicing. However, I don't blame you. We just worked on tailoring this structure of the speech. And now I get a better idea of what I can tweak once we get to the full script editing or creation. After all, we already created the intro day 2 homework, a solid belief, and what was the last part? Let me check my notes. Concern. That's what we said. Well, we kind of tailored the concern a bit by adding more identity layer, but at least we got a general idea to work with. So now I'll save the belief plus concern homework, and we can use the day 4 homework as a draft to to finalize, as tomorrow will be working on day 5 homework, which is most likely going to be structuring the full 7-minute speech script. Damn, it's 8 p.m. Life goes by when you have fun. I do have fun. We have some pretty cool audience. Like, look at this. The Ethan Mahoney, Al Papa, thank you for the follow. Thank you very much. T. Stiller, Slapador, Luca Banu, Sir, Robbie C, my man. Check out the episode with the Robbie C. This is episode 4. That's actually the latest episode. Banana Fighter Fit, episode 4. Rob C. And so I'll see you in Miami. And Raphael, my friend from high school. Shout out. Hope Calgary is treating you well. Yeah, so guys, that's pretty much it. I mean, we've been working hard today. My brain is cooked, fam. But what did we do today? So yesterday we actually worked on the intro of the speech, got this locked in. Today we did two homeworks. We did actually what is my belief and what is the concern for my speech. Got this locked in. And then next one, we just almost finished it, the draft, is the actual structure of the speech, key points, so to speak, that will help me relate back and follow through my speech. I give you a lot of sauce today, so hope you enjoy this, guys. I'm going to end the stream on YouTube and on Instagram very soon. One last thing, guys. If you have any questions in regards to fitness or business or entrepreneurship or even spirituality, then feel free to reach out and ask it to me. I'm going to have a lot of guest speakers on my podcast very soon. Actually, I've quite a few lined up after I'm coming back from Miami. And from there, we're going to get all of your questions answered one way or another. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. You have a great night. I'm going to end the YouTube stream. Take care, guys. Bang.